Please welcome Dr. Marion Nestle, Paulette Goddard Professor of Nutrition, Food Studies, and Public Health Emerita, New York University.
Hello. I'm really happy to be here. And I'll be even happier if my slides work, and they do. I write books about food politics. And all I can say is, this is an incredible time to be writing about food politics. Here is the President-elect of the United States talking about the industrial food complex. The mind boggles. You can't make this stuff up. This was his tweeted announcement of Robert Kennedy as nominating him to be Secretary of Health and Human Services. We've already heard a lot about that this morning. And here is Robert Kennedy on the flip side of what he's talking about the food system. End chronic disease, go wild on food, get ultra-processed foods out of schools, get rid of artificial colors in cereals, get rid of chemical pollutants, get rid of mercury in fish, get rid of fast food, and do a few other things, end conflicts of interest in government. These are things I've been talking about for decades. You cannot make this stuff up. These are all food system issues, and by food systems, I mean everything that happens to a food from the time it's produced, distributed, sold, bought, cooked, and wasted. Everything that happens to it. You cannot understand why people eat the way they do, why we eat the way we do, without understanding the food production system as well. And food systems thinking is a really interesting and important way of looking at food. The global food public health, the major public health nutrition problems in the world today are problems that are related to food system, hunger and food insecurity, obesity and non-communicable diseases, the environmental effects of the way we produce and consume food, and now we're still dealing with the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. All of these are related to dysfunctional food systems, and these are among the most important problems in society. We saw this during the COVID pandemic because the obesity was one of the factors that raised the risk for bad outcome of COVID-19, as did chronic diseases that are also related to diet. And all of these are underlaid by social determinants of health, where people live, how much money we have, how much education we have, and what I'm most interested in, the kinds of foods that we're eating. Microphone. And our food system is based on the people who are paid the lowest amount of money in our society. If you want to look at the lowest wage jobs in the society, they're food jobs. They're farm workers, they're fishermen, they're people who work in meat packing plants, in agricultural production facilities, in restaurants. And so our food system depends on low-wage work, and the politics of that are also mind-boggling these days. I keep talking about food as being political. I know that comes as a great surprise to a lot of people because food is personal. It's about taste and culture and what you believe and your feelings of identity and what your family eats and what you love to eat. But it's also political because it has a great deal to do with social status, with wealth and power and government, and who is making the decisions about what people eat. And I thought the politics of food were beautifully explained in one slide by the celebrity chef, Jose Andres, an extraordinary person who pointed out in one a tweet, I don't know, all of this stuff gets done on Twitter these days, that during the pandemic, that farmers were destroying potatoes. They were throwing away food at a time when people were lined up in cars for miles to get handouts for food banks. So the irony of the dysfunctional food system should not be lost on anyone. And I'm interested in nutrition, and it's a source of great sadness to me that people are enormously confused about what they're supposed to eat, when dietary advice is so simple that the journalist Michael Pollan can do it in 7 words. Eat food, not too much, mostly plants. And really, that's all there is to it. Beyond that, everything else is nutrifluff. It's frills. This is all that matters. The problem is that if you eat this way, it's very, very bad for business. And that's another great irony of the food system, is if we were all going to eat healthfully, the food companies that make the thousands and thousands of products that we love to eat in supermarkets would not do as well as they're doing, and that would be bad for the economy and certainly their economy. So what do we do about that? I think we have to advocate. We have to get involved in politics. Advocacy is a political process to change society, and what we need to be doing is advocating to improve the food system. If we're going to do that, we have to be advocating to end hunger, to reduce chronic disease, and to protect and improve the environment. And I know that that's what all of you are doing every day, and that's what makes me so proud to be here. There are rules about how to advocate. These are 3 examples of books that I think should be on the shelf of everyone who is doing food advocacy, particularly Organizing for Social Change, which is a manual for how to do it, and Bite Back, which gives examples of successful food advocacy. And what to do? I think you do a personal agenda. If on an individual level, you vote with your fork. You educate about food, not food products. You promote local and sustainable agriculture. You grow food, or you teach people to do that. You cook at home. You teach kids to cook and garden, and you do what you can to produce food waste. But if you want to be serious about advocacy, you also have to get involved in politics. And here's my food systems agenda, which I have in front of a rainbow because I know how ridiculous this is going to sound. You reform campaign funding and get money out of politics. You refocus agricultural production on food, not fuel, or fuel for automobiles or feed for animals. We should have a universal basic income so everybody can afford to buy food, universal school meals so kids can eat. We want a huge campaign to reduce obesity and chronic disease because that's what's killing us. And in order to do that, we have to regulate the food industry. If we don't have these goals, they'll never be achieved. So even though this seems like an uphill fight, it's worth doing. We got to do it. And I want to close with something from Michael Moore, the filmmaker, who said in these difficult times, he suggests that you practice kindness, read books, get real news, take care of yourself, stand for something, join something, and advocate for those in need. I know that that's what you're doing. Keep doing it. It's totally worth it. And I thank you very, very much for the opportunity to talk to you today. Thank you. Thank you.